and welcome to another episode of So You Think You Can Garden, the show where we don't have green thumbs, but we do have green hair. I'm Emma the librarian with the Sonoma County Library System, and I am not a gardener. Last time on the show, I planted seedlings and then watched most of them perish, and then I planted plant starts and watched them grow. It was a roller coaster of feels. I tried some more bug keep-away tricks, this time employing copper tape, which is supposed to repel slugs. Also conducts electricity. I also continued to use the ground-up eggshells because I liked the dual spike aspect as well as composting. I wonder if this stuff works on vampires. But I also broke down and bought chemicals. I know this is controversial for some people, and I'm not endorsing it. I'm just telling you what I did. I wasn't taking any chances. Captain's log. Multiple attempts to reason with the insectoid life on this planet have failed, and their attacks upon the life forms have continued, with devastating results. Phasers, set to kill. At this point, because gardening had become a hobby, I had started talking about it pretty much nonstop to all of my friends over our Zoom calls. Some of those friends have actual gardening skills. One of them has agreed to appear on this show. The following interview roughly covers some of the things we talked about when I went to him for counsel about what to do with my new garden. Special guest, all the way from Canada, my friend, Mr. Andy. Mr. Andy, among many other exciting things, has also been a farmer in his time. When my plants really started to take off, I sought advice from Farmer Andy on how best to keep the bugs away, do some harvesting, and just general plant maintenance. Thanks to the magic of the internet, even the Great White North is not so far away. So please welcome to the show, all the way from Alberta, Farmer Andy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome, Farmer Andy. How are you today?
Thanks. I'm great. Happy to be here.
Thanks so much for coming. So, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Like my farming background.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I worked on a vegetable farm when I graduated from college in 2004. That was in Maine. Nice place, Maine. Just putting in a plug for the state. Great state. Great people out there. And I spent a whole season there. I came out in early June and I left at the end of October. And I learned an awful lot about what it takes to grow vegetables for other people.
Very nice. Very nice. So, what's it like working on a farm versus working in a garden?
So your garden in your backyard is pretty much a little tiny farm. When you scale it up and you say, now I'm growing cucumbers that other people want to buy, then you're farming, pretty much. But it's funny, depends on your point of view, really. We used to have a guy come around to the farm in Maine who was an old Mainer, and he would say, how are your gardens today? And we were like, it is a farm. Excuse me, this is a farm. But we didn't say that, but we thought he was pretty funny. How your gardens? So sometimes people call it market gardening, which is just a fancy name for a giant garden that I'm going to sell the produce out of. Does that answer your question?
It does. Well, now I'm wondering, I've been saying I'm not a gardener, but now I'm wondering if I can say I'm also not a farmer.
You could, in fact, say that you are neither of those things, but it seems like you're at least one of them.
Maybe I'm a little bit of both.
Maybe you just got to sell that first cucumber and then you're a farmer, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the difference.
I don't, is it sales? I don't know, because there's subsistence farming too. You don't have to sell anything to be a subsistence farmer.
And that's what I was trying to work on. And you actually gave me some advice on how to try and keep tiny baby plants from dying after just 2 days.
I did.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It did the second time around. The first time around, everything died. But the second time around, I think the solution was mostly water and keeping away bugs and maybe love. Maybe
You
not.
know, love plays a part, but it's really important to have that water in there. And giving the seedlings the right environment is just perfect. You sent me this question earlier, so I'll respond to it in some more depth um, for your audience.
Thank you.
I like to use trays that have these little 6 packs or 12 packs in them, and the tray has a little plastic cover on top of it. So you get a clear plastic cover and a black plastic thing on the bottom, and then these 6 packs. And you fill the 6 packs up with soil and you put your seeds in there. And the great thing about it is it lets light in and it keeps moisture in. So you don't have to worry about them drying out so much. But you do have to make sure they get a lot of light because those little seedlings burst out of their seeds and they start growing like 60. They're just growing like crazy. And so you have to catch them as they go through their growth curve, which is really fast at the beginning. You have to make sure that they're getting enough light. Usually what happens to seedlings is they start to get tall and they get leggy. That's what people say. And they get really tall and they have a tiny little leaves at the top and then they flop over. And then it's really hard to salvage them because now they're not really doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is getting stocky and filling out with lots of new leaves going outwards. So giving them light and moisture, that pretty much takes care of your seedlings.
Okay. Thank you. And you also gave me some advice, if you can recall way back when, on how to harvest things safely. In particular, it was broccoli I was struggling with, but just in general, how do you, when you have finally gotten your seedlings to be real plants and they are producing things, cucumbers, broccoli, how do you go about safely harvesting without destroying the entire thing?
Well, the first answer that I have is go ahead and harvest with confidence. Plants are tougher than people think. They'll survive an awful lot. Some plants will take abuse, actually, almost, like tomatoes. They're tough. They're weeds. They're great. And so you don't have to worry too much about them. You break a little bit off, it's okay, it'll grow back. Your broccoli is pretty much a one-shot deal. It usually makes florets at the top of the plant. And when you cut that, that's kind of the end of the story. But some types of broccoli will make a lot of small heads of broccoli. Like they're going to make flowers in a bunch of different places around the plant. And so you can keep harvesting those little side shoots. You just snap them off with your fingers. And again, you don't have to worry about the plant. It's a pretty tough plant. Some plants are more delicate, especially in their early stages. Melons are really kind of delicate. They don't like to be too wet. They'll get some kind of rots and fungus and mildew and that kind of thing. And then you can't let them dry out because then they're not happy then either. But you can't keep them too moist because they'll get mildewed. And then if you disturb their roots too much when you're transplanting them, then they'll be unhappy with you and just die. So some of them are pretty picky, but a lot of garden plants are tougher than you might think. So garden with confidence.
Oh, I like that. Ooh,
Yeah.
maybe that's the name of the episode.
Gardening with confidence.
Gardening with confidence.
Just do it.
And then lastly, just sort of what kind of gardening escapades are you up to these days?
Well, now I don't live in Maine anymore. So the gardening season is even shorter where I live here in central Alberta. But we have had a couple different situations in the past few years. I gardened in a friend's backyard for about 4 years. And then we had a community garden spot, and that's very lovely if you can get them. And last year we moved, so we gardened at a church with concrete planter boxes, kind of large planter boxes. And that was pretty successful. We got a few cherry tomatoes and a little bit of lettuce and a lot of lovely carrots And yeah, so I really haven't done a lot of container gardening, but it was a success. And we're thinking that that will be a good thing to do again in the future.
You're a gardener on the go.
That's right. That's right. Wherever you are, you can always try and put something in a pot.
I like it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me on.
And I'll probably be asking you for more advice in the future.
Anytime.
All right. Bye.
Thanks to the advice of Farmer Andy, better living through chemicals, sunlight, water, and time, my garden was doing pretty swell. I felt like I was doing an okay job protecting the plantlings and myself. I don't photosynthesize. Now it's just time to sit back, relax, and wait for some... So that was the roommate. Apparently, sometimes there is a dog. Oh, he's so cute. And he pees on plants. It has been suggested that I might want to fence off the plants in some capacity. Okay, I can do a fence. Because if I do a fence, I might need some sort of gate. Then if I have a gate, I mean, I might as well have a path. I don't really know how to do a path. Or a gate. Or a fence. Which one do I do first? I'm gonna have to ask somebody how to do this. I think it's time for more trash piles.
No, you can't do any of that. Ooh, without a hat.
Tune in next time to see how to build a garden gate by committee and Tree Roots, a guide to murder. Like and subscribe for more content from this channel, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye! Oh, Canada. Do they do the heart thing? It's not where my heart is. Someone told me my background was boring. It's not boring, it's just my life.